When I had my own accounting firm, I would say 1099s were my least favorite thing to do over the calendar year. And I know they can be stressful for a lot of firms. And so we've created a template here to sort of help automate, gather, understand what information you're missing and all that sort of stuff. So whether you're getting to those W-9s in December or actually filing 1099s in January, this is a helpful tool that we built with Amalgam. So I've got the instructions tab here, but I'm gonna walk you through it, so don't worry about that. When I go to the filters, this is unpopulated right now, but you'll see after we fill in some data, this will populate. And then we'll have an output tab that actually says which vendors and how much their amounts are. But we're gonna start really with this GL tab. And so this is the raw general ledger where we're gonna pull data that's gonna populate the filters and output. Immediately you see I get this alert. So this is a template. It doesn't connect to necessarily your tool. So I'm going to change company here. I'm going to select my Manganelli company, which is aptly named, which is my name. So there we go. So this will load for a second to actually connect to Manganelli from this. It's the sort of standard thing that you're going to go through every time you change the company with Amalgam. One thing you note that might seem foreign if you don't do this a lot is it'll actually change the name of the tab. So this is saying GL now. Once it actually populates with Manganelli, it should say Manganelli in the tab name itself. And that's on purpose. We do that because as you be doing various connections and linking to various systems, you're going to be seeing that you don't want to get confused, right? If I have multiple entities in one. But I can easily change that back to GL. Pretty easy. So now I'm connected to Manganelli. My settings here are to run from January 1st to January 31st. We want to run it on a cash basis. So I'm going to run the report. Looks like I'm getting an error. Sometimes I just click off and click back on. All right, there we go. Run our report. And this should populate so you can see all of my transactions populating here. And there we go. We've got a success. So if I go back to my filters tab, we'll actually see the various things that I want to include or exclude. So, we're talking about 1099s here, so I don't need to include deposits. I'll say no. Expenses I do want to include. Credit card payments I don't, right? Those are excluded. As I go down here, checks I do want to include. Credit card expenses I don't. Credit card credits I don't want to include either. So I'll hit no there, and I certainly don't want any journal entries, so those are non-cash items. And you can see the other filters sort of start filtering out. And I can do the same thing for my accounts, right? I don't need anything from my checking account, so I can exclude that. Same thing with this checking account. This is another account. Suspense, that's just sort of a holding. Accounting I do, bank fees, no, don't care. Computer equipment, yes. Gifts, no. Legal fees, yes. Promotional events, no. T&E, we don't want, right? Shipping and postage, I don't have really a high enough amount there. And so if I go to my output, I'll actually see all of my vendors listed out. So we know anything under $600 who's not a lawyer, we don't have to exclude or include, so we can exclude that stuff. So you can see this Second Pass, John Rudakoff, and a couple other vendors here I need to consider for my 1099 inclusion. So there you go. Pretty simple to kind of flag that. Now I can take this information and I can use it to load up into my tool, whatever I'm using to file 1099s, or maybe I can say, hey, let's double check if this is December. Let's double check to make sure that we are have all the W-9s that we need. One last thing I'll show you here, if you're using large data sets, if you're not, you can hang up. Great video. Thanks a lot. Give the template a try. If not, you have large data sets and the normal general ledger doesn't work for you, that can be a pain, right? Because it will time out and give errors from QuickBooks or whatever system you're using. We have the paginated GL, which is a very similar tool. You can run a similar report from the GL. It's just going to paginate it, right? So it's going to take it in chunks so it doesn't time out. So I'm doing the similar date, January to December, but I'm going to chunk it into months, running on a cash basis. Can do that just the same. It'll take a second to print out here because it is coming in chunks, but it's really good if you have hundreds of thousands of rows potentially. I recently ran one for 150,000 rows. So relatively easy, just go get a drink or something like that when you're pulling it down. I don't have 150,000 rows in this instance, so it should run a bit quicker, about 1,000 rows. But in this instance, if it's not going to run purely on the GL, we can just copy and paste this data from this tab here, copy this, go over to my GL. I can paste it right in pretty easily, and it will work just the same. You can see here, it populates just the same, and we get similar output here, though I'll have to redo my filters because there's just a little bit of a different alignment, but it works all the same way. So there you go. Hopefully this is a helpful template as you're in December and January, either filing 1099s or you're going through and actually just kind of reviewing who needs W-9s and things like that. This template is something that we found a lot of help when I ran my own accounting firm, and then now with Amalgam can be pretty helpful.